Cubs needed an amazing outing from Jameson Taillon. They got that. Cubs also needed to score some more runs. They got that. And of course, they wanted to keep this series going, and they got that due to the fact that they were able to score more than 3 runs finally. Listen, we got more baseball to be played. We have to outline the next game as well as talk about who came up big for the Cubs in this game. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Listen, the Chicago Cubs do go ahead and take care of business. So, of course, you already know what we do on this channel. Every single time the Chicago Cubs get a victory, we fly the W. That's right. They beat the Milwaukee Brewers, who now lead the series 2-1 instead of 2-0. We fly the W because they won a game against the Brewers, something that seemed improbable, seemed like they just could not get done. The Chicago Cubs finally pulled it out. They take one against the Brewers, continuing their push in this playoff. So listen, facing elimination against all odds, the Chicago Cubs got what they needed. What did they get? Well, they got an excellent outing from one Jameson Taillon. Jameson Taillon in this game, once again, just really being that linchpin and that anchor for the Chicago Cubs. We got to give him credit. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, one ball, 3 strikeouts on 75 pitches, 49 of those being strikes. Pitched to the ERA of 2.25. Listen, the Chicago Cubs needed some starting pitching that could hold guys down. This Brewer team likes to put up a big crooked number on Shota Imanaga as well as on Matthew Boyd. However, Jameson Taillon was able to come in and stifle what they had going. They even had bags loaded one time against JMO, and he still was able to get out of it. That's what we need from our starting pitching. We need them to be slimy, stifly. We need them to be stingy and to hold people off from touching home plate. And luckily, like I said, the Chicago Cubs were able to do that for the most part in this game. And again, because of that, the Chicago Cubs do win this game. Also, Drew Pomeranz came in after him with 2 strikeouts, no hits allowed, no earned runs. Daniel Palencia came in, did the next inning, and put up all zeros. Also, Andrew Kettridge did allow 2 hits in his inning, a 1 earned run, a home run, and he did have 1 strikeout. And then Caleb Tilbar came in and pitched 2/3 of an inning and allowed 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And then Brad Keller came in and pitched 1 1/3 inning, allowing 1 walk, 2 strikeouts on 19 pitches, 10 of those being strikes. And the Chicago Cubs pick up a victory that ensures we will have more baseball. When is that next baseball? Well, glad you asked. That will be tomorrow. Right now, as it looks, that game is set to be at 8:08. If the Phillies beat the Dodgers, then that game will be at 6:08. If the Phillies and Dodgers play another game in LA tomorrow. But if it's just one game, that game is going to be 8:08 start time at Wrigley Field for the Chicago Cubs. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know that starters have been announced yet for the game. Doesn't look like it. Looks like both are undecided as of right now. But again, like I said, I'm sure that announcement will come up, and we will see what happens with that. But like I said, as of right now, man, the big news coming out of this, the Chicago Cubs are still alive. We still have more baseball left to be played. Our team is still in it. It looked bleak, and it looked like the Brewers were going to go on a run here, and it looked like the tables were going to turn, but they just never could get that big hit in this game to make it happen for themselves. So the Chicago Cubs did go ahead and take this victory, like I said, and it was off the bat of one Michael Busch. Michael Busch came into this game and, like I said, immediately set the table for the Chicago Cubs. After Frelick hit a sacrifice fly to left, Yelich scored off of that. It's 1-0. Cubs fans immediately started breathing real heavy, sweating. But Michael Busch came in and set the tone after that. and hit a home run. Priester, like I said, gave up a home run to the leadoff man. He is the only leadoff man in the history of the MLB to hit 2 leadoff home runs in the same postseason. Like I said, Michael Busch is that guy. Pete Crow Armstrong then came behind him, singled to right, and that scored Horner and Tucker. Cubs went up 3-1. And then Happ scored on Amir's wild pitch, and that allowed that was all of the Cubs scoring for the rest of the game. They only scored 4 runs in this game, and then the rest was Bowers. He singled to center, and that scored Frelick. And then Bowers again homered to left center off of Andrew Kittredge off the first pitch he saw from him. The wind was blowing out. Definitely wind caught that. But like I said, it is what it is. Like I said, the Chicago Cubs find themselves in an opportunity here to tie this thing up, and they can do it. They absolutely can do it in this game. And like I said, I think that if you look at this, there's 2 options here on who should pitch next for the Chicago Cubs. Who should pitch next for the Chicago Cubs either needs to be Aaron Savali or it needs to be Ben Brown. And I know you guys are looking at me and saying, this dude got to be on crack. But if you look at it, you really don't have much of an other option. Personally, I think Ben Brown has had a lot of success against the Milwaukee Brewers. They have not figured out how to hit him. He has pitched very well against them in games he has pitched to them. And again, like I said, it's just an opportunity for Ben Brown to show why he can be a starting pitcher. And even if he's just the opener, or even if he just eats up some innings, maybe you start the game with Savali and then you go Brown, or maybe you go Brown and then you go Savali. Either way, I think that you have an opportunity here for the Chicago Cubs to take game 2. And again, like I said, you saw you got a little bit more. You got a little bit more help from Kyle Tucker today. Ian Happ has been insufferable, and Matthew Shaw has been insufferable. Both of those guys at the plate are terrible. Bags loaded, 2 men on, it don't matter. They're going to strike out every single time. They're almost like an automatic out, and it's stupid. It's to the point where it's ridiculous. Chicago Cubs are reaping the fruits of not going out and getting a good third baseman, a third baseman that can hit. Matt Shaw still figuring that part of his game out. Not saying that he is somebody that doesn't have that, but Matt Shaw doesn't have it right now when the Cubs need it. And Ian Happ has been abysmal all season long, if you ask me. And I'm over it. I'm over the Ian Happ stuff. I don't care that he has a podcast on Marquee Sports Network. I am done with Ian Happ being a part of this team. We need to go out and we either need to allow Owen Casey to play next season, or we need to go out and trade for somebody that we could put in left field. So I'm done with it. We need to tell him that he's going to split time with somebody out there that can actually hit. And it's going to suck, but whatever. He might actually waive his no trade clause if you tell him something like that. So we'll see. But yeah, man, like I said, the Chicago Cubs do pick up a victory. As of right now, the game is at 8:08, but the game could be moved to 6:08 if Philly and Los Angeles play game 2. Either way, we are going to have it for you here live on the Chicago Sport Cubs Central. Like I said, I'll be live streaming the game. Come watch it along with me, man. I appreciate you guys that have come and hung out so far. Chicago Cubs did their thing, man. Got a victory. It was a close one, but we live to fight another day. We are trying to get this thing back to Milwaukee, and back to Matthew Boyd in that could obviously pitch, and he'd be more than rested by that time. So we'll see what happens. We shall see, man. But listen, I appreciate you guys so much. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Let me know your thoughts on the people that you thought showed up and the people that you think need to do a better job. Again, in my eyesight, Matthew Shaw and Ian Happ have just been abysmal for me. I love what I'm seeing from Seiya Suzuki. I think Kyle Tucker is starting to figure it out, even if it's just singles or doubles. Still something is better than striking out or flying out. And of course, PCA, like I said, gave us 2 more runs in this game. He's starting to figure it out a little bit too. Chicago Cubs pitchers are doing a great job, a better job at least. Like I said, who would you guys start in the next game? Who would you start in game 4 of this series? Let me know. I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.